What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Leo coming to you guys with yet another video coming to you guys today, reacting to 10 best WWE matches of 2014 by Cultaholic here. 2014 was is an interesting year. We've seen some big monumental moments that I feel like changed the entire wrestling business going forward to where it is now. We've seen some big moments like the whole Yes movement and stuff like that. We've seen the end of the streak. We've seen John Cena be destroyed in a match, which is something that me and a lot of people have never seen before to this magnitude. We've seen the breakup of the Shield. We've seen some great matches with the Shield. We've seen the split and then them trying to go in their own direction. So we've seen some interesting things in 2014. So we're going to go down memory lane and pretty much see what Cultaholic has to cook up as far as what matches they deemed some of the best matches of 2014. If I have to pick, I would have to say it would have to be the whole Yes movement stuff with him and Triple H and him and the Authority. The Shield versus the Wyatt, I think, was one of my favorite matches of that year. Them versus Evolution was also a great match as well. So those are just some of my favorite matches. But comment down below, what were some of your favorite matches for 2014? If you guys were watching around that time. Who were some of your favorite wrestlers at that time and everything like that. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and everything like that. Also subscribe to my podcast channel with me and Willie Does Wrestling. We do podcasts over there, so go subscribe to that. But we're going to get into it right now. So let's see what Cultaholic has to say.
2014 was a year of monumental change in WWE. It saw the launch of the WWE Network, the breakup of The Shield, the end of The Undertaker's WrestleMania winning streak, and perhaps most importantly of all, Damien Sandow became Damien Mizdow. We didn't know how good we had it. With all this going on, it's easy to forget that the company also hosted some incredible matches throughout the year. And that's where I come in. I'm Adam Pachisi from Cultaholic Wrestling, and these are the 10 best WWE matches of 2014. Join us. Number 10, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
Man.
This might be a controversial pick.
Yeah, this is a controversial one, but at the same time, like I said, this match right here changed the landscape of the WWE forever, because we knew John Cena as being the peppy type of guy. We know John Cena as like the pretty much the face of the WWE, and it has been for a long time up until this point. And the fact that, you know, he won the WWE World Championship after it was vacated by Daniel Bryan. So they had to crown a new champion at Money in the Bank, which he ended up winning. And pretty much it seemed like the way John Cena has been booked like for a long time is pretty much he was like next to untouchable. He's always kind of felt people always had their opinions. I thought he buried the talent and stuff like that, never really put anybody over. But this right here was a mauling. I never seen John Cena be in a match where he literally got little to no offense. He really didn't get any offense in this match. And I think we've seen this feud before. I think they faced in 2012 at Extreme Rules, which John Cena ended up winning in a competitive match, I would say the least. But then this right here, this really changed the trajectory of John Cena's career forever, and it really put a lot of emphasis back on Brock Lesnar as being the beast after him coming off that historic legendary moment in his career where he defeated the streak at against Undertaker at WrestleMania that same year. So
But few matches in recent memory have been as shocking as what went down in the main event of SummerSlam 2014. After Daniel Bryan's WWE Championship reign came to a sad end due to his injury, the title was held up and then won by John Cena at Money in the Bank. Cena carried the belt through to SummerSlam, where he would defend it against Brock Lesnar, the man who had snapped The Undertaker's streak earlier in the year. Spoiler alert, you won't be seeing that match on here, although you probably already knew that. In a move absolutely nobody saw coming, Lesnar totally dominated Cena. He chucked him around like he was a hacky sack, making WWE's Captain America look like Steve Rogers before he got injected with a super serum. After 16 minutes of utter carnage and after just one offensive move from the champion, Lesnar pinned Cena to win the title in spectacularly dominant fashion. It wasn't a technical classic or a well-paced brawl, but it was.
It's also crazy to think that was like over 10 years ago. Like, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, just like how wrestling as a whole has evolved since this match and how both of their careers have changed since then and stuff like that. We've seen John Cena, he's coming back for his last hoorah or his last run. Maybe we do see these two go at it, maybe one more time, we will see, but maybe that's just me fantasy booking here, but I wouldn't mind seeing these two go at it one more time.
Was utterly gripping to watch the once mighty Superman get torn to pieces.
Yeah.
Us wrestling fans are a sadistic bunch, aren't we? No.
Oh, the cranberry. Cute on the outside.
We can be.
Number 9, John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at Payback. At WrestleMania 30.
I feel like this right here, I think they really, I still stand by what I said a lot of times. Bray Wyatt should have went over on John Cena at WrestleMania. But I feel like the feud was interesting for what they were being able to do. And even though that WrestleMania match didn't really live up to what a lot of people wanted to, that Payback match that they had at Payback, that really cooked. Now that match, I recommend a lot of people go back and watch. And I think this is like one of the most underrated matches like of 2014 that people really aren't talking about. So I love this match, and I really wish people kind of would appreciate this match more, just a little bit.
John Cena defeated Bray Wyatt, bringing the cult leader's momentum to an abrupt halt. Wyatt got his win back at Extreme Rules, albeit with help from a demonic version of that kid from the Snowman, which led to a rubber match at Payback, which would be fought under Last Man Standing rules. In one of the better examples of this stipulation in WWE history, these two foes took their fight all over the arena, making use of weapons and environments like they were in a video game. The finish was especially gamey as Cena hits Wyatt with an AA through an equipment crate and then pushed another one on top of him to keep him down for the 10. Although you could argue this match
that was an interesting way to end the match too. I think you don't really see people do stuff like that when it comes to these last man standing matches.
Just hurt by the fact that Wyatt was literally buried by the established star. The action was so good that in isolation, this is a fantastic watch. Having two strong personifications of good and evil perfectly fit this type of extreme matchup, and the violence on display never got silly, unlike with some other Cena Last Man Standing affairs. What I'm saying is nobody got duct taped this time. Number 8, the Usos versus the Wyatt family at Battleground. Jimmy and Jey Uso.
Now this might be a hot take for some of you, and I know you guys are going to probably be saying, why are you stopping the video so much? I mean, it's a reaction. I can't risk the video getting taken down or anything like that. So and it's a reaction. So you're going to see stuff like this. But this right here, this might be a hot take. The Usos versus the Wyatt family, like tag team wrestling, I think it's like the best tag team match of 2014. You can kind of debate me let me know in the comment section down below. I might be crazy, but I think that's the best match that they put on for the tag team division in 2014.
Back when they were impossible to tell apart, got involved in the previous match to counteract Bray Wyatt's henchmen Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. It makes sense then that the two teams would collide just 6 weeks later with the WWE Tag Team titles on the line. At Battleground, the Usos put their ugly bronze straps up for grabs against the Hairy Man Patrol in a 2 out of 3 Falls match. They might have been blander than untoasted white bread, but the brothers were still damn fine wrestlers at this point and the perfect foils to their gigantic, menacing opponents. Harper and Rowan could also put an incredible shift in, which is precisely what they did here. The stipulation kept things interesting right up to the end, when a double Samoan splash put Harper away to give the future Bloodline members a 2-1 victory. Tag team wrestling actually had a little bit of a revival in 2014 after so many years in the dark, and this is one of the prime examples of that phenomenon. Naturally, Vince McMahon put a stop to that by breaking the Wyatts up shortly after, because screw you, pal. Number 7, the Money in the Bank ladder match at Money in the Bank. John Cena might have won the
Yeah, even though John Cena won this match, and as you can see, but that night of that Money in the Bank ladder match, I think that's literally on the men's side of things at least, one of my favorite Money in the Bank matches of all time. Because you had like the rise of Seth Rollins, you had the authority backing him after him betraying the Shield and him having this character of being a chicken heel to where he just is trying to avoid Ambrose after turning on him at every cost and using the authority to his benefit to help him win the Money in the Bank contract on that night. And then also at the same time, it built sympathy for Ambrose because people loved him so much at this point. He was like really white hot at this point, I think, post Shield. And then you had Seth Rollins pretty much with the briefcase, with the authority, and it allowed him to take his career to the next level to the point he cashed in and had a successful cash in at WrestleMania. So it really changed the course of the WWE forever, especially for the Shield, post Shield, I would say. And it changed really the WWE as forever, especially for those three guys.
WWE Championship in a ladder match at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but there was still the actual briefcase to sort out as well. And because there was only one World Championship now, this year it was gold. Ooh, shiny. Competing for the gaudy lunchbox were Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Dolph Ziggler, Rob Van Dam, and two men who had recently had a bit of a falling out, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. The ex-Shield men formed the emotional core of the match as their constant brawling provided the perfect...
Now, I don't know if Cultaholic is gonna have any mention of this on the list, but one of my favorite matches was their match that they had, I think, on Raw. It was the what was it? I think it was like a 2 out of 3 Falls match, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all can comment down and let me know if I'm wrong. But that was one of my favorite matches. The match that they had at Money in the Bank with them both being involved was great. The match at SummerSlam was solid for what they were giving it, for it being a lumberjack match. And then they gave them a Hell in a Cell match. The match was cool. I love the Hell in a Cell match between the two. I think they were definitely doing something really interesting with those two. But then it kind of pivoted to Ambrose versus Bray Wyatt later in the year. And that allowed Seth Rollins to pick up the win because Bray Wyatt did get involved in the Hell in a Cell match.
Foundation for everything else. With the exception of Swagger, everyone in this match was perfectly suited to the ladder-strewn environment. There were big moves out of the wazoo, including Rollins taking a nasty fall onto a ladder bridge, but that was all forgotten when the destroyer of the Shield unhooked the briefcase to guarantee himself...
Yep, I remember watching this, and I was probably 13 years old when I watched this match, and I was, looking at it, and I was like, the only two people that's gonna make sense winning this is Seth Rollins or Dean Ambrose. I feel like Seth Rollins made more sense, but if you wanted to do the shocking factor that I think a lot of people wouldn't have been upset about, it would have been Dean Ambrose. But I think, like I said, regardless of who won that match, it would have changed the course of the WWE, and it changed the course of Seth Rollins' career forever, to the point where we've gotten to the point where he is now, and it allowed him to take a huge different path, because it allowed him to be like the golden boy for the authority, and they're backing him. He won the briefcase, he cashed in at Mania, made a huge moment, because at that point nobody has cashed in at WrestleMania. And then he went on the same year to beat John Cena and become the US champion, to being the only guy to hold the WWE championship and US championship simultaneously. So it really just helped Seth Rollins in the long run.
A future world title match. Because he was a little bastard at the time, Rollins won thanks to a massive assist from Kane, which only further cemented his new snivelling persona. Great spots, great story, great winner. Sounds like a pretty great match to me. Number 6, Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt at Royal Rumble. Prior to getting involved with...
Yeah, this match was great. But this also was the same night people went irate that he was not in the Royal Rumble. This was a time where if it wasn't Daniel Bryan, it was nobody else. People really didn't care when number 30th hit and people were clamoring for Daniel Bryan to be part of that match. And then Rey Mysterio came out there, and as popular as Rey Mysterio was, he could not stand the test of being booed out the building. He was being booed out the building. Nobody cared. They turned on the match in entirety because they wanted Daniel Bryan in the match. And then you had him early in the night go up against Bray Wyatt, which was a great match, mind you. And then they end up doing that over a couple years later, at 6 years later at 2020's Royal Rumble, which I was at, and they had a strap match, which was a great match. They had some great match. I don't think I've ever watched a Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt match and I wasn't upset, or if I watched it and I didn't enjoy it. So,
John Cena, Bray Wyatt spent time feuding with the man who, in many ways, defined WWE in 2014. Daniel Bryan had joined the Wyatt family after months of mental torture, only to break away from them in an all-time great moment on the January 13th episode of Monday Night Raw. This led to a match between the American Dragon and the Eater of Worlds at the Royal Rumble, and if you want an idea of just how popular Bryan was at this time, then just listen to the crowd during this one. The fans were desperate for Bray to win, getting behind his every move whilst also booing the fiendish fedora wearer. Wyatt and Bryan had incredible chemistry together, which was only elevated by a red-hot audience and a killer storyline. After two sister Abigails, one inside the ring and one outside, Wyatt pinned the underdog hero for a disappointing result to a really stellar match. It's alright everyone, Bryan clearly lost here because WWE were planning on having him win the Rumble match later in the night. Wait, what do you mean he didn't win? What do you mean he wasn't even in the match? Uh-oh. Number 5, The Shield versus Evolution at Extreme.
This match was fire. This match was great. Like, we've seen some faction versus faction matches, like, over the years from different people, or if you watch WWE or AEW, but this is an all-time great right here. The Shield versus Evolution feud that they had really elevated the Shield, because the whole idea of the Shield is when they were trying to set them up as being future megastars, as singles competitors, and when them beating legends in the business along with the likes of Batista, Randy Orton, and Triple H, they accomplished that because you had them go back to back, beating Evolution at Extreme Rules and Payback. And I think this one, I think Payback was the one where they I don't know which one it was. I think it was this one where they had it was like elimination style or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Payback though.
Extreme Rules. Like a bunch of dads trying to recapture their youth, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista got the band back together by reforming Evolution, although they clearly misplaced Ric Flair's phone number. This new version of the group took on the newly babyface Shield in 2 pay-per-view matches, the first of which took place at Extreme Rules. 3 old guards versus the 3 fastest rising stars in pro wrestling. This was gonna be good. Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns showed up big time, matching the trio of veterans step for step and looking every bit as confident and powerful as the multi-time world champs. Ambrose took a wicked bump down some stairs, only for Rollins to outdo him with a wild dive off the balcony in the crowd. That's Seth, always showing off. Reigns ended up clattering Batista with a spear to give the win to the Boys in Black, a serious statement of intent from a team that hadn't even been together for 2 years. While some might prefer the chaotic nature of their rematch at Payback, this is the better bout in terms of structure, drama, and concise storytelling. Number 4, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H at WrestleMania 30.
One of the best opening matches of WrestleMania. Easily one of the best opening matches of WrestleMania. I mean, if you guys do pay attention and pretty much pay attention to a lot of things that were happening, if CM Punk never did leave the WWE, this would have been Triple H versus CM Punk at WrestleMania. And then they would have had Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. But I think with CM Punk stepping away, it really changed the course of Daniel Bryan's career even more, especially going into WrestleMania, because people were clamoring for him to finally get his moment after being denied time and time again. This really helped him in the long run, and it helped him reach a pinnacle in his career and a pinnacle in the business that we have not seen since, like your Stone Cold and The Rock days, when you've seen these generational talents really go bat to bat with like the authority figure itself. This was a new breath of fresh air, seeing like this underdog babyface finally trying to reach the top of the mountain.
He might not have been in the Rumble, but thanks to a groundswell of fan support unlike anything WWE has seen before or since, the American Dragon found himself on the card at WrestleMania 30. To earn his shot at the world title later in the night, Bryan would first have to go through Triple H, who symbolized not only his kayfabe struggles against the Authority, but also his behind-the-scenes battle to get recognized by the top brass. This match is a great example of a very simple story told incredibly well, with a perfect cast of characters and setting. Bryan and Trips didn't do anything spectacular or dangerous here besides that gnarly tiger suplex because they didn't need to. Bryan was a beloved babyface, whilst the game was the hated heel standing in his way. They just had to go out there and wrestle, and the crowd were like pussy in their hands. When Bryan reversed a pedigree attempt into the winning pinfall, the crowd erupted with relief. WWE were actually putting their favourite in the title picture, and he had just had one of the best Mania openers in history. Surely he was going to win the title now, right? Right. Number 3, Randy Orton versus Batista versus Daniel Bryan.
Do I need to say anything else? That crowd went bananas when Daniel Bryan won this. And the fact that he made Batista tap out in the process to do it, with the way they set it up with, Triple H losing in the earlier part of the show, and then later in the show trying to screw over Daniel Bryan once again, to the point the crowd was even more amped up to really see Daniel Bryan finish his story and finally see him be able to reach the top of the mountain again and finally hold those the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and he did, and that crowd ate it up. This really just changed the course of Daniel Bryan's career, like I've been saying. Unfortunately, that whole reign was cut short, and then it's crazy to think he won this in 2014, and over 10 years later, he wins a world championship, and he did it at All In and became the AEW World Heavyweight Champion.
At WrestleMania 30. He was going to win the title, hooray! Mere hours after beating Hunter and then taking a brutal assault from Trips after the match, Bryan stepped out again to compete in the show's headliner against WWE Champion Randy Orton and Royal Rumble winner Batista. The crowd were once again on their best form for this match, driving their chosen one to pull out all the stops even when the former Evolution buddies ganged up on him. I mean, that RKO Batista bomb combo through the announce table was rad as hell, even if it seriously messed up Randy's back. The in-ring wrestling here was superb, but this was all about the moment at the end. Big Dave was trapped in the yes lock, tens of thousands of people yelling at him to tap out. Eventually, his hand hit the mat, and Daniel Bryan was declared the brand new WWE World Heavyweight Champion in one of the greatest feel-good moments in company history. The entire stadium erupted in yes chants, and for that night at least, everything was perfect. In another universe, this was just a regular singles match between Orton and Batista. Mental. Number 2, the Wyatt family versus The Shield at Elimination.
This match cooked. Two of your best factions at that time. Two of your best built-up factions that they were building at the time, and they really killed it. This was like the height, this is like the hottest feuds that they put on like that year. One of the hottest feuds that they were able to put on that year. Like, I still get goosebumps going back and just seeing the match and just seeing how great they were able to put on with these two factions, and I loved it. RP Bray Wyatt, RP Luke Harper. Man, it just sucked. It kind of sucks and kind of gives me goosebumps going back on it because, yeah, it was great, but then it just, knowing that they end up passing a lot, like, years later on, it does leave a little sadness in my heart, I guess, because I did like this match in its entirety, so.
Elimination Chamber. 2 months before their big clash with Evolution, The Shield had another 6-man tag on pay-per-view, and it was one that fans had been chomping at the bit to see. The Shield and the Wyatt family had debuted less than a year apart in an era where, in WWE, factions didn't really exist or were 3MB. A match between these two units had been on fans' wish lists for a while, until at Elimination Chamber 2014, their prayers were answered. All 6 individuals got a chance to shine in this epic clash, which saw brawling inside the ring, brawling outside the ring, brawling in the stands, brawling on top of the arena roof. One of those might have been a lie, but you get the general idea. In the end, Luke Harper took a spear from Reigns that was intended for his leader, brilliantly conveying the strength of the spell Bray had his minions under. This allowed Wyatt to hit his own finisher on the big dog to win the match. Did the Wyatt family win because they were better, or because Bray had brainwashed Harper? Doesn't really matter. Match rocked. Number 1, Team Cena versus Team Authority at Survivor Series. After years of putting up with the
you had you had Sting come out there. You had this huge rejuvenation of Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth in that match. We know if he wasn't injured, Roman Reigns would have been in that spot. But it really helped out Dolph Ziggler because it really got the fans back on his side once again, to the point they wanted to see him get pushed up the card once more, and it sucked that they didn't really go anywhere with it, because this was a kind of like almost like a star-making moment for him. So I wish they would capitalize on it.
The evil authority and their manipulative ways, the good guys of WWE decided enough was enough. An elimination tag team match was made for Survivor Series between Team Goodies, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler, Eric Rowan, Big Show and Ryback, and Team Baddies, Seth Rollins, Kane, Mark Henry, Luke Harper, and Rusev. If the heroes won, then the authority would be banished forever. If they lost, then they'd all get fired. Dun dun dun! Over the course of 43 minutes, this match unfolded like a Hollywood film. There were shock eliminations, near falls, and even a betrayal when Big Show switched sides halfway through. Should have seen that one coming. That's literally his entire gimmick. Dolph Ziggler somehow managed to overcome a 3-on-1 advantage, only for Triple H to interfere and set up Seth Rollins to make the winning pin. But then, who should save the day but only bloody Sting, making his first ever WWE appearance to stop the authority, hand Ziggler the victory, and end this match on the highest of highs. Sports entertainment at its finest. This is easily one of the best Survivor Series matches of all time, and the very best match of 2014.
Easily. I think that's going to go down as one of the best Survivor Series matches of all time, just because of the stakes that were involved. Like you said, if Authority lost, they would no longer be in power, which I think a lot of fans were wanting, because I think the thing is with Authority, the concept was cool, but people got tired of them always constantly opening up the show, and it seemed like closing the show as well. So it kind of just got a little bit overbearing for a lot of people. So I just think it kind of just was one of those things that they kind of needed to kind of stop doing for just a little bit. And I think this kind of worked for the time being, because they ended up bringing them back. But I do think this was a great Survivor Series match. I think one of the ones that I think can still hold true and still stand the test of time, just because what they were able to do. Just because of the stories that they were building coming out of it. You had Dolph Ziggler, I think, like I said, it was this crazy moment for him. Like he said, it's a 3-1 type of situation, and he was able to come back from that and win, pinning Kane, Seth, and I believe he pinned Luke Harper as well. But like I said, I think this was a great moment for him, and I think they could have really ran with it and allowed him to be pushed up the card, just because of the support that he was getting after this, and just because of the crowd reaction alone. I wish they would have capitalized on it, but that's neither here or there. But that is the end of the video. You guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Hit the post notification bell so every time I post a new video. We're on the road to 300 subscribers. Also subscribe to my podcast channel, Bringing It to the Ring, with myself and my co-host, my right-hand man, Willie Does Wrestling. We do podcasts over there. We're going to be doing podcasts, tier lists, and all that good stuff. So if you guys want to see more, go subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 50 subscribers over there. So we'll appreciate every single one of you guys. So please go do that. With that being said, comment down below. Let me know, like I said earlier in the video, your favorite match of 2014. Was there a match that was your favorite that wasn't on here? If so, what was it? Leave in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys' thoughts and opinions are. But that is in the video, you guys. I hope everybody has a great day and a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.